Good morning, it's February 27th, and this is To My Little Friends. Remember when people started to notice the physical and mental decline of President Joe Biden? I sure do. But if you listen to the mainstream media and the White House staff, this was all fake news propagated by conservative news outlets. Then came that fateful day in June of 2024. The Biden team had witnessed that they were lagging in the polls and needed something to jumpstart their campaign. They challenged Donald Trump to a debate even before either party had had their convention and officially nominated their candidates. It was something highly unusual, had never been done. But it was their last gasped attempt to show the country that Joe Biden was in charge. Unfortunately, that's not what happened. The two moderators from CNN, one of whom was Jake Tapper, consistently tried to fact-check Trump while giving Biden a pass. If Trump made a false statement, which he's prone to do, both Tapper and Dana Bush were quick to pounce on him, and when Biden made false statements, they just sort of let it slide. I count at least 9 to 10 false Biden statements in that debate, yet nobody fact-checked him during the debate. And I'm going to be right up front. Donald Trump made more than 10 false statements in that debate. But they weren't going after Biden, just Trump. It all fell apart when Biden started stumbling on a question and his eyes got glassy as he tried to regain his focus. His response was incoherent, and when the moderators asked Trump if he would like to respond, he delivered the line that ultimately crushed the Biden campaign. Trump said, quote, "I don't know what he said, and I don't think he knows either," end quote. With that, it became only a matter of time before the Democrats had to step in and force Joe Biden to step aside. If you go back to 2020, you would find that Jake Tapper ardently defending Joe Biden and going after anyone that suggested that Biden was not fit for the office. When Laura Trump, Trump's daughter-in-law, suggested Biden was on the decline cognitively, Tapper exploded. He accused her of mocking Joe Biden's stutter. Quote, "How do you think it makes little kids with stutters feel?" After Trump expressed some pity for the former vice president's inability to speak. Tapper continued, "I think you're mocking his stutter. I think you have absolutely no standing to diagnose anybody's cognitive decline. Plenty of people have diagnosed your father-in-law from afar, and I'm sure it offends your father-in-law." End quote. But this week, Jake Tapper has teamed up with Axios reporter and frequent CNN contributor Alex Thompson to publish a new book entitled, wait for it, quote, "Original Sin, President Biden's Decline, Its Cover-Up, and His Disastrous Choice to Run Again," end quote. That's the title of the book. Remember, this is the guy who fired back at any suggestion that Joe Biden was no longer competent enough to be running the White House and be the leader of the free world. But the promotional material of the book is even more amusing to read. I'm going to quote it. Quote, "The irony is biting. In the name of defeating what they called an existential threat to democracy, Biden and his inner circle ensured it, tossing aside his implicit promise to serve for only one term, denying the existence of health issues the nation had been watching for years, dooming the Democrats to defeat. The decision to run again, the original sin of this president, led to a campaign of denial and gaslighting, leading directly to Donald Trump's return to power and all that happened as a consequence. Rarely does hubris meet nemesis more explosively. Whatever you stand on the political spectrum, Original Sin is essential reading," end quote. Wow, run out and buy the book. But if you're even that, is kind of a ridiculous blurb describing the book. And we can't let Tapper's co-author, Alex Thompson, off the hook either. He was another who defended Biden at every turn and suggested the integrity of anyone would be under question if they suggested Biden was declining. In 2023, Thompson penned a story in Axios that was entitled, quote, "Biden's Weird Words," end quote. He suggested anyone questioning Biden's quirky aphorisms was wrong, and that Biden had been using some of these unique phrases for most of his life. All he says is Biden's been lying most of his life. He said even some of the Biden aides were not sure what Biden meant by these phrases. But eventually, the truth starts to seep out. Conservative journalists were starting to pick up some of the stories that Biden was telling and picking them apart. The facts were just not adding up. Now Jake Tapper and Alex Thompson want to suggest that they were gaslit by the White House staff. The truth of the matter is they were not doing their job and allowed their own political biases to color how they reported on the Biden presidency. If you want to reward them for leading you down the Rose Garden path, then by all means, buy their book. But if you read it, you will know that this is just Tapper and Thompson trying to deflect what more than likely they knew, or at least should have known, and blame everything on the Biden White House staff for covering up the decline of an aging president. But if they were true reporters, true journalists, they would want to claim they are then why did they blindly accept the excuses of staff? Why were they not grilling White House staff about the lack of access to the president by the media? Why did they just accept the bland answer from Karine Jean-Pierre that Biden was too busy running the nation to be bothered with the media? All of these are questions and more that should be asked of them, and I'm betting they're not addressed in the book. Will they tell us who was actually running the country during Biden's presidency, especially on those days when the staff themselves said Biden was having a bad day? Name some names, and that might be a book worth reading. This has been To My Liberal Friends. Thanks for listening.